Yumi got overbuffed. Riot, what are you doing? She's getting so popular already in competitive, and in high elo solo queue, she is pretty much always banned. She's super strong. And now they overbuffed her. Passive, first ability, second ability, ultimate. What are you doing, Riot? She's pretty much god tier right now. This champion is gonna be so overbuffed. She's gonna be so strong right now. Hey, what's up guys, Darkbreaker here, and in today's video, the 3.0B tier list, there will be a lot of changes in my opinion, just thanks to the rune changes, and some of the balance changes are gonna change the meta slightly. I mean, especially for Yumi, the changes are crazy, so yeah, she's gonna be super broken. And if you guys enjoy my tier list and you guys don't want to miss out on future tier lists, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you guys will see all of those new tier lists. I'm actually using the new tier list maker. I've seen it in Hell's video. The only thing I'm missing in this is actually really smooth because you can just adjust whenever you want. I'm missing the F tier for some champions. I'm missing some F tier for the memes. But anyways, let's get started for the Baron Lane tier list. Darius. I think this guy will get huge benefit from the Triumph buff. Because he will get additional damage, 2% additional damage on that rune. And the value he's gonna get for that rune is gonna be super good for his ultimate. Because the lower the opponent is, the more damage he will do with the Triumph, and he can execute champions easier. Also, Darius is one of the best hard carry 1vs9 champions in the Baron lane, thanks to getting one reset, or you're stacking up on one person with the Noxus Might. You dunk on one person, you do so much damage. If you guys have watched one of Rick's games recently where Random was playing Darius, you guys can see how amazing Darius can be at carrying the game 1vs9 or just winning a teamfight 1vs4. So this champion in solo queue, if you play him correctly, he's gonna be super strong. Obviously, there is the downside that in some team compositions or against some team comps, he might get kited. In this case, maybe you just have to play Flash plus Ghost so you can reach them better. But otherwise, just Barrier Flash and Ghost Flash against kiting comps. If you play it correctly, Darius can be an insane 1vs9 carry champion, and dunking on people obviously feels amazing. Then Renekton. Why Renekton S plus tier actually? I was talking to Random and he told me he thinks Renekton is S plus tier right now because everyone is getting nerfed, and Renekton also benefits from the Triumph buff. Since you built him really tanky, you just start with Black Cleaver instead of Blade of the Rune King now. And if you guys are the only frontliner, maybe you even go for Derrock's Cage, building him super tanky, being that frontline and getting that value from the Triumph. I never played him with Triumph before, but I think going for a more tanky build with Triumph makes him super tanky, and he gets the value in teamfights even if you get kited, just because of the fact that you can tank so much and you're still amazing at split pushing and 1vs1ing champions. He's very strong in the early game. Good tanky champion with tons of AD. The only downside I saw before was just that you get kited a lot, but going for a more tanky build might be the solution with the Proto build or with the Stone Plate to reach the backline, and instead of being like the damage dealer or you need to win the 1vs1, you just focus more on being the tank and have the meat shield value in team fights, and you still have the damage to kill people even if you go Black Cleaver Derrock's Cage or Black Cleaver Blade of the Rune King and then later Derrock's Cage. He's also very amazing against most champions in the 1vs1 early game with good wave management and good aggro control, so you can rage control, my bad, rage. If you play the waves correctly, he is really good at poking people down when he has enough rage, you dash in, auto attack, second ability, first ability, dash out again, quick slash and dash combo doing tons of damage. Pretty much with Blade of the Rune King, 50% damage the moment you have rage. The only downside I would say is if he falls behind, he will struggle, especially if you go for the Blade of the Rune King first item. If you fall behind, always just go full tanky. Just go for the Black Cleaver into Sterok's Gauge, and then maybe some other tanky items. Then Fiora, obviously, she didn't get touched. I put her in S+ tier last time. She's still gonna be the same. One of the best champions, in my opinion, in the game right now. Can be played Baron lane, can be played jungle, can be played mid lane as well, so yeah. Early game, one of the strongest champions, one of the best duelists, and one of the greatest split pushers. Also really good at carrying 1 versus 9 when she gets ahead. Camille, still S tier. Great split pusher, even though she got nerfed. I think last time I put her S tier, she is still S tier in my opinion. Fleet and Second Wind. Second Wind got buffed on her, so her laning phase will be even better. And I'm using the Fleet footwork plus Second Wind sustain in the laning phase is going to be key. Great for team fighting, great for split pushing, great duelist. So overall, Camille in the right hand still very good. Some people say, oh my god, the nerfs were so hard. She's still super fine in my opinion. Nothing changed. Set, I think this champion is really, really strong. I wasn't sure if I put him S+ tier because I haven't played him so much. But every time I played him, even after the nerfs, he felt really good. So right now, I'm debating between S+ and S tier. But for now, I'm just putting him S tier. Maybe if I play him more, I start using a new build for him. Pretty much the Darius build, where I just go Black Cleaver, Black Cleaver, Deadman's Plate, Sterok's Gauge, Proto build. Very, very similar build to Darius, and he is super, super strong. Maybe S+ tier, honestly. I think if I play him more and I have the feeling, wow, he beats so many matchups, maybe I would put him S+ tier right now, but I haven't played him too much, just a few games, but every time I played him with a new build, he is so amazing. He is so good against a lot of champions in the S tier or S+ tier. Great teamfight value with the crowd control coming from the ultimate and from the third ability and the shield and the true damage he has on the second ability. With the pro ability, he's just a banger champ. Maybe, okay, let's change it. S+ tier. I think he's just so good. Even after the nerfs, I think this champion, if you know how to play him, if you maximize the second ability tankiness, if you use Proto third ability to catch multiple people, and then use ultimate flash or flash ultimate to pick a person off, this champion has insane playmaking potential and is super tanky and still has good damage. Very similar to Darius. Like, they are both very, very similar. The only thing that's different is that Darius is more damage orientated and Set is more crowd control plus tanky orientated. Jace, even after the nerfs, he is S tier. A really strong poking champion. Very lane early game dominant. Wait, why don't I put Graves here? I'm trolling. Graves is A tier. Garen, super good, weak siding champion, tanky, and has a lot of damage, even though he's so tanky. Great meat shield, great duelist. Gregor's, super good, weak siding champion, tanky, good crowd control, decent dual power. Aurelia, if you are a proficient one-trick pony, Aurelia, she's S tier. She has insane playmaking potential. She has the potential to carry and snowball the entire map. The only downside is, actually, if you play it well, she does very, very solid against almost every matchup. Only downside is mid and late game, she kind of falls behind, and you need to snowball. Wukong, great early game, great weak siding champion with insane teamfight potential. Riven, more like A+ tier. I think that the issue is she needs to snowball so badly, and she is really not that tanky. She has the mobility. If she gets the crowd control just fucks her, that's the issue. And she really needs the first blood. I mean, that's the thing about Riven and Aurelia, they're kind of similar, that they need to snowball, but I feel like for Aurelia it's much easier to snowball than for Riven, so that's why A plus or S minus tier for Riven. Akali, really really weak in the early game. I think she's much better in the mid lane. She still has great carry potential in team fights. Jax, kinda weak in the early game. He has good scaling, but he got nerfed on top of that. Cannon, good ranged AP top laner. The downside is I feel like his team fighting is not strong enough to compete against split pushers, because he really needs to make up for it in team fights, because his dual power is not that insane. Akshan can be a really great counter into melee matchups if you play it correctly. But yeah, kinda situational. Mundo, I think it's a very solid meat shield weak siding champion. He does, if you don't want to, you are never gonna die on this champion if you play it correctly. Who can kill him? I guess a Darius with full stacks and the true damage, a Fiora. But besides that, he is super tanky and hard to kill. Jarvan, really amazing and solid weak siding champion that can hold the lane super well and has crowd control for team fights. Same applies for Malphite. He's super tanky. He can beat some of the S tier matchups building full armor, but he also has the team fight value. The downside is if he falls behind, he can never hold the lane against one of the hard scaling split pushing champions like Fiora, for example. Olaf, situational. I think he can be pretty good into tanky champions. He can also be able to cheese some of the S tier champions, but it's just situational. He gets countered by a few champions, and if he falls behind, he's kind of doomed. Like, he's one of those champions you need to cheese and win early, and he's really good at cheesing level 2 or level 1. But if you don't cheese, the value is not that insane. Pantheon, very strong early game, dominant champion, but if he doesn't snowball, he is really, really bad, and he gets outscaled by a lot of champions. Yasuo, he has a lot of bad matchups in the top lane here, and he loses a lot of matchups. He is a high skill ceiling champion, so if you're really proficient on him, you can make him work, but you also need the right team comp, maybe a Rakan, maybe an Alistar, maybe a Wukong, etc. Lee Sin, kinda cheesy top laner. In the right hands, if you're proficient on Lee Sin, he can do really well into a lot of matchups. Diana as an AP champion top lane, a really solid pick. Graves, kinda situational, but he can work into certain matchups where you can just counter them because of your range advantage. But I think he's better in the jungle, to be fair. I just put Alistar here because I think he's not bad into a lot of physical damage matchups, but against split pushers, he might have the issue that he might not be able to roam freely to join team fights. Tryndamere, kinda weak, gets countered by a lot of champions. Singed, really weak early game. He needs to cheese, but his scaling is insane. I've seen, honestly, Yuumi is like a question mark. I have no idea. I've seen some people use Yuumi in the top lane, and I have no idea how good it is. But I assume with the Yuumi buffs, maybe it could be a B tier. Vayne, Lucian, both are situational range champions that can counter a lot of melee matchups, but the downside, because some people might be wondering why I put them B tier if they are countering so many melee matchups, it's because you can punish those ADC champions very easily, because usually they will play super aggressive, trying to harass you and overextend. And if the enemy jungler wants to, he can just perma gank you, and you can't do anything, and you will go 0-5. Rengar, actually, let's put him C tier. Kinda. Okay, Evelynn. Evelynn top lane, I've seen it work a few times. I think it can be pretty good into some melee matchups. But at the same time, the same downside like Vayne and Lucian, that if you get camped and ganked, bye-bye. You are so free kill. Kayle, super weak. Right now, Nasus. If you want to play Farmville, you're playing the wrong game. Don't play Wildrift. I don't know. In LoL PC, I think he's fine just because you have such a long laning phase where Nasus can stack up, but wildrift is so fast-paced, his playstyle doesn't work. A majority of Nasus players are so selfish that they will always sit in the lane and AFK farm and never join any team fights. And Nasus also loses matchups against almost any champion. He gets hard bullied. If he gets frozen, he can't farm, etc. So nah. And Rengar really cheese top laner. If they play it safely and don't die level 2, I think he's really useless. Okay, jungle. Boom. Okay, for the jungle tier list, I would say Lee Sin is still one of the best junglers right now in the game. This guy is still broken. Early game dominant champion. Super duper good. Same, I mean it didn't change. Kha'Zix's also one of the best assassins, great at snowboarding the game. Fiora, one of the greatest duelists in the game, super good at winning early and snowball. If you like, the thing about Fiora, why I put her S+ is you need to be a good Fiora. But trust me, if you're good at Fiora, you can beat those two champions at level 3 as well, if you play it correctly with the repost. And yeah, you can farm up, and then you can 1v9 on this champion very easily. Evelynn, great solo queue piss stomper, because she has the invisibility advantage to farm up people and gank perma gank. Jax, even after the nerfs, I think he is still really good, and you won't notice the attack speed nerf too much. If he gets going and if he gets 2 or 3 items, he is really amazing at carrying the game 1v9. Jarvan, one of the best gankers in the game, good jungle clear, good ganking potential, great team fighting. Pretty much the same explanation on Camille. Very good ganking potential, good split pusher, good duelist. And the ultimate is just insane for ganking. Rengar, invisibility. If he snowballs, he just carries the whole map and he just one-shots you. Riven, really great duelist and assassin in the jungle. She's really strong in the early game. And if she gets going, gets snowball, or she snowballs, she can carry the game. Only downside is if the opponent has a really kiting comp or they have a lot of crowd control. If they have this, go for Olaf. Olaf just counters all those crowd control comps or comps that rely on crowd control for the peeling, like Lux, Senna, etc. Veigar, he just runs them down and ignores it. So he's also a really good tank killer because of his true damage. Grace, I think last time I put him A tier, but after playing him a bit and realizing the thing is, he might be slow, but he has the 1v9 potential. He has really good 1v9 potential once he has 3 items or 4 items. So if you can make sure that your team, like if you can get to a point where the game is not 0-20 and you have 3 or 4 items, this guy is really amazing at carrying the game. Downside is he needs to focus on farming and he doesn't gank that much. I mean, you can still farm. The issue I've always seen is that so many Graves players, they AFK farm, but you can definitely gank a lot while farming. So if you play it correctly, wait for my Graves video and you guys will see Graves really good actually. Nunu, very good AP jungler, super tanky, great ganker like Lee Sin. Morgana. I think the issue about this champion is that she's ranged. I think that's the issue I have with a jungler that's range. She really relies on hitting the binds. So setting up ganks is not that good for Morgana unless you hit the bind from max range or something. She still has really good jungle clear. But I feel like the other champions are so much better at ganking and snowballing than a Morgana. Morgana relies on the other teammates to set up the crowd control, so it's easier for her to hit the bind. If you don't hit binds, ooh yeah. So just A tier. Wukong, I just feel like his jungle clear and his ganking isn't as good as the other champions in the S tier, like a Jarvan, for example. And he doesn't have the insane carry potential, because usually you build him really tanky. So yeah, he has the teamfight value, but you also need your teammate to be there to do damage, because you won't do that much damage. So for example, Jax will carry 1 vs 9, Graves 2, Olaf 2, A Nunu might not do as much damage, but he has the perma gank factor. Rengar has the 1 vs 9 potential. Camille as well. Evelyn as well. Wukong doesn't have it, so that's why I put him 8 here. Xin Zhao, I was discussing with Vex, and he's actually right. I think I would put him always S tier, because he felt pretty solid, but that's about it. He doesn't have the insane 1 vs 9 that you want as a hyper carry or in solo queue. And you pretty much rely on the teammates more than on the other champions. These champions here, they really don't rely too much on the teammates, and they can carry even without good teammates. But the Xin Zhao, he relies more on teammates to do damage than the others. And he doesn't have the perma gank factor. That's the thing. He needs to farm. He occasionally can gank. He's a decent frontline, has decent damage. So Gregors, A tier. You can just go AP Gregors. Very solid, to be honest. Darius with the buff on Triumph. I think he might be not bad in the jungle. Good jungle clear speed. Decent ganking potential, but kiting factor. Getting kited. Diana, bad jungle clear speed, but good carry potential. Pantheon, good ganker, good early game, but falls behind. Same applies for Aurelia. Zed, kinda average jungle clear speed, but overall he's pretty good in team fights and decent ganking potential. Vi, Vi versus Jarvan. Jarvan, perma-gank. Vi can also snowball pretty good though. S tier, A tier, let's just say A plus tier. A plus tier. She is a really good ganker, has decent damage. A plus tier. Mundo, bad ganker, decent jungle clear. Fizz, bad jungle clear, good carry potential. Master Yi, if you play against opponents that know how to use the crowd control, you can't do anything. Singed. Honestly, it's not bad. I really like him. I like him more than those other 4 champions in the jungle, not gonna lie. In the B tier. Between B and A tier. Honestly, is decent jungle clear, good ganker, insane scaling potential, good playmaker with Protobalt and Fling. Tryndamere, kinda meh. He's okay. The last time I played him, the issue is just you don't have any crowd control besides the slow, so you can get kited pretty easily, and you need a lot of items. I played Amumu recently. I have to say Amumu is actually decent. He's decent. Kind of weak early game. If you fall behind early game, you're so weak, and you will get bullied by junglers. They will just perma kill you. Rammus, he really relies on snowballing by perma ganking early on. Shyvana, she is so reliant on getting dragon. If you don't get dragon, she is so weak, and she needs to perma farm, and she's bad at ganking. But yeah, let's go to mid lane. In the mid lane, I still say Zed his damage is not balanced. His damage output is absolutely disgusting, insane, and he has the high skill ceiling where he can 1 versus 9 and he can make so many plays happen. If you are godly on Zed, he is one of the best solo queue champions in the game. Like, you might think you falls off behind in the mid-late game, but he's still so amazing in the late game. His damage is crazy, his split pushing is good, his dual power is insane, team fights still does a lot of damage. Diana, one of the greatest assassins in the game. She's really good at carrying team fights. If you land a 5-man ultimate, it's GG, and she has the team fight damage, she has the assassination power, she has the burst damage. Katarina, after the recent buffs, still S+ tier in my opinion. Maybe not for Master Plus, but definitely below Master. She is just so crazy to snowball in low elo. If you are one-trick pony Katarina, you get one reset, boom, pentakill, boom, pentakill, boom, pentakill. Even if you're behind, you're 0-3, you get one reset, boom, quad kill. She is so good in solo queue where it's a Clown Fiesta. Maybe Master Plus not, maybe not, but anything below Master is S plus tier. Aurelia, very good at snowballing and carrying, good 1vs9 potential. Falls off in the mid-late game, but if you play it well, you can snowball and beat a lot of... If you're proficient on Aurelia, you can beat almost anyone here and get the first blood early on. Especially a level 2 cheese, a level 5 all-in, very good. Orianna, really solid utility mage, insane poking damage, insane scaling, good team fight, good crowd control in team fights as well. Aurelion Sol, I think even after the nerfs, his roaming potential and his snowballing potential is so underrated. That's why I put him S tier. Fizz, one of the best assassins. Even after the nerfs, I would say he's S tier. Just because he can snowball and carry so hard. Same applies for Kali. That is an amazing assassin, and in team fights, her burst damage is absolutely crazy, and she can carry team fights on her own super hard with all of the playmaking potential and the high skill ceiling. Galio, a pretty strong crowd control based tanky mid lane champion. Twisted Fate with the roaming global ultimate potential to snowball the game and control the map. Ziggs, one of the best poking utility mages, insane damage in teamfights. Good at clearing waves, etc. Yasuo, if you're proficient on Yasuo, if you're a good Yasuo player, he is super good at carrying the game, especially once you have 3 items. He does so much damage. The Proto Belt knock-up combo, the Proto Belt Flash knock-up combo. If you have Rakan, you have Wukong, you have Gragas. If you hit one good ultimate, this GG, you carry the game, especially in the late game. Good wind walls are key as well. Jay is still one of the best AD poking champions in the game. For a not ADC champion. So he's still very strong, good poking damage, good at carrying the game. Fiora, in my opinion, still S tier in the mid lane. She's a super strong duelist and she's great at snowballing the game, beating or getting first blood early on, and then joining skirmishes for scuttle, invades, or ganks in the side lane. And her scaling is absolutely amazing. You need to be a proficient Fiora though. Akshan, I think his damage is broken, his revive is also broken. If you play him well, he's really good at getting first blood and beating a lot of melee champions because of his range advantage. He scales with crit, he does so much damage, and he has the revive, S tier. Ahri, I think she's a really solid assassin. Has good playmaking potential. Corki does a lot of damage, but he gets countered by a bunch of champions in the mid lane, and kinda risky to play him in the mid lane against, let's say, Aurelia, Zed, Diana, Akali. Just because they can just all in on him and kill him. Brand, solid mid laner, good poking damage, bad roaming ability. Gragas, a solid mid laner, good poking damage, good utility, good playmaking potential. Morgana, decent wave clear, relies on hitting the bind. If she hits the bind, that's gonna be super useful to kill people. Ultimate is good, but roaming potential is bad as well. Veigar, bad roaming potential, needs to scale, decent crowd control, and decent damage. But it's just not like Orianna. Orianna's just so broken compared to Veigar. Pantheon, early game, pretty good. Good at cheesing, good at roaming, good at ganking side lanes with her ultimate, but he falls off. Garen, I've seen a lot of Garen players in the mid lane lately, both in competitive and in solo queue. If you guys have the AP damage already as APC or AP jungler or AP top laner, I think you can be pretty solid, I guess, as a tanky meat shield in the mid lane that just jumps onto melee champions in the mid lane. S1, S3, clears the wave, and then he just roams. Kayle, a super scaling champion. She is just super bad. Evelyn, decent in the mid lane, but bad wave clear, but she has the roaming potential and the snowball potential. Annie is okay in the mid lane. Cannon is meh in the mid lane, honestly. Bad wave clear. His teamfight is really not that amazing. And he gets out damaged by a lot of champions. They will just all do more damage. Orianna, a Ziggs, Jace, Diana, they always will do much more damage than you, or much more damage than a cannon. Seraphine, I think she is decent in the mid lane. Good poking damage, decent wave clear, the good team fight if you hit the ultimate. Lux is okay in the mid lane as well. She has the bind, she has the wave clear, she's kind of squishy, she can roam too much. Sona, bad wave clear. Yeah, bad wave clear, decent poke. Yeah, she's okay. Like, the downside of this champion in the mid is she can't roam. She can never roam. So, the few times I got Sona mid lane, they were all useless because the enemy would just outroam and this guy is AFK and the others are doing so much just because her wave clear is so bad. And if she roams, she can get easy punished by a Fizz that's camping, Akali, etc. So, that's why I don't like Sona in the mid lane. Okay, ADCs. Vayne is the champion I hate the most in the game. She is a perma ban for me as Baron lane main. Even as a jungler, I like to ban her. Either I'm banning Lee Sin or I'm banning Vayne because she's not playable. You can, if she gets ahead 3 items, you can't kill her anymore. And if she has good positioning, she utilizes her ultimate and the tumble correctly, you can never catch her. She is so hard to kill, and her damage is not balanced with the true damage. Varus, one of the best poking champions in the game. Also good crowd control with the ultimate. Very obnoxious to deal with because he can position himself so far away in the teamfights. Draven, probably one of the best early game champions. Absolutely insane at snowballing the game and bullying almost any ADC in the lane matchup. Very good solo queue piss stomper. If you're a good Draven, you can get 5-0 at 4 minutes almost every game. Because bot lane players are not that good. It's hard. It's like it's so funny because I'm talking to some ADC mains that also play Draven, and they play Baron lane, and they always agree the Dragon laners are so bad. It's so free to stomp on them. Also, ADC pro players, I'm sorry guys. You guys might say, you are a hater because you only play Baron lane, or you... I mean, I play everything. I play Baron lane, I play jungle, I play mid lane. I can also play ADC. I can't play Draven. Hey, we both know I can play Draven, but I can play Vayne, I can play Varus. Lucian, Kai'Sa, Corki, Orianna, it's not too hard. Saya is also not that hard, but I don't play that much. But pretty much, ADCs is really not that hard to play. You just need to know good positioning. Lane matchups are also not that important. Like, yes, but not as hard or not as punishing as Baron lane matchups. Because you're 2 versus 2. You have 4 summoner spells as well. Just try to focus on farming. Orianna, a really good APC, tons of damage. If you have a melee AD champion like Zed in the mid lane, APC Orianna, really, really good. She's super popular both in competitive and solo queue as APC. Saya, really solid ADC that doesn't rely necessarily on the support. Also, Draven doesn't rely on supports. Saya as well doesn't rely necessarily on support because of her ultimate. She has the self-peel, she has the crowd control, and she has really good damage. Kai'Sa, really strong champion. Good damage, good... she has shield, she has invisibility, she has a jump. Lucian, tons of mobility. Corki, double. Yeah, he has a dash and then second package. So the package, like his damage is crazy. That's why he's S tier. Ezreal kind of scaling. In this meta he's just too scaling. It takes too long for him to come online. That's the issue I see. Misfortune, still a really strong pick, but she falls off so hard in the late game compared to other champions. Like a Vayne. Like, Misfortune is really easy to kill. Even a 5-0 misfortune, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I can kill her. But a 5-0 Vayne, oh Lord, have mercy with me. Surrender. Surrender. FF6. FF5, I'm sorry. But yeah, Vayne that gets ahead is so hard to kill. She has so much mobility. She has to condemn for crowd control. She has the invisibility. Misfortune, what does she have? She has mobility from the second ability. That's it. She doesn't have any jumping abilities. She doesn't have any crowd control. So she's very easy to punish and kill. Even if she's 5-0. Her ultimate is very good in teamfights though. Morgana as an ABC, I think that's fine. Nothing too special. Caitlyn, good range. Decent ADC. Jinx, decent ADC. If she gets going, she gets one reset, she can be super strong. Mid-late game, super good. Same explanation for Ziggs and Brand like Orianna, but just weaker. Jhin, early game, really good. I think the issue about Jhin is, if they buff Jhin, they need to make him stronger in the mid and late game. He just falls behind, his damage output is really weak compared to a Varus, a Vayne, or Corki, or Kai'Sa. Because he needs to snowball and establish early game dominance. Yeah. Ashe, her damage is not that good. She lacks mobility. She does have the ultimate though. Akshan, it's meh. It's maybe I just put him C tier. Tristana, she's the reverse of Jhin. Early game, super weak. Late game, she can become super good. But it takes so long for her to come online and get useful. So long. If you want a late game beast that is also decent in the early game, just go for Vayne maybe. You could also go for Xayah, Kai'Sa, they also deal tons of damage. And if you guys want the mobility, Lucian, Corki are other options. Veigar, APC, shit. Senna, ADC, kinda shit. It's just not good. Just not good. If you want to play Senna, just go as support. Akshan, I've seen it getting played a few times, but I really think Akshan mid lane is so much better than Akshan bot lane, because in the lane you will struggle so much, and I think the others have way more value in team fights, or they scale also better. Okay, now for support. One thing I have to mention is some of those champions in S tier, I would place them normally in S plus tier, and some of the champions in A tier, I would put them in S tier. But since we don't have God tier, I put Yuumi S plus tier, but she would be God tier, these four would be S tier, S plus tier, and then some of those champions would be S tier. Maybe a Gragas, Lulu, Galio would be S tier then, and the others would be A tier, or A, between A or S. It really depends. But yeah. Yuumi got overbuffed. Riot, what are you doing? She's getting so popular already in competitive, and in high elo solo queue, she is pretty much always banned. She's super strong. And now they overbuffed her. Passive, first ability, second ability, ultimate. What are you doing, Riot? She's pretty much God tier right now. This champion is gonna be so overbuffed. She's gonna be so strong right now. Yuumi Vayne, Yuumi Jinx, or Yuumi with a Jax or something. Yuumi with a Fiora. Or Darius. Or Garen. Okay, not Garen. I'm just memeing. But yeah, Yuumi would be... It's too broken. Too broken. God tier. Overbuffed. Trust me. Overbuffed. Ban her. Ban her. Ban her, or you guys will cry. Thresh, really, okay, same explanation for all those three. Thresh, Alistar, Rakan, insane playmaking champions in solo queue to carry games, roam around, make plays happen, good at team fights, 1 versus 4 knockups, or 1 versus 5-man knockup, 5-man knockup, can pull people or protoball fling people, very amazing enchanter, Nami. Bubble, ultimate, healing, attack speed. Insane. Janna, A tier. She has the shielding, she has the peeling, she has the ultimate to peel people. so she's overall pretty solid, but she doesn't have the playmaking potential compared to a Nami that can play more aggressive with a bubble, with the ultimate. Gragas, really solid playmaking champion with decent crowd control. Lulu, after the nerfs, maybe she's still S tier. I put her between A or S. A+. I would say A+. Still very good. I think the nerfs don't affect her too much, but I just wanted to make sure that Yumi is in the S+ tier, so I just moved her here. Galio, good playmaking champion, but his engage is not as reliant, and you don't hit as many people as a Rakan or as an Alistair. Morgana. Honestly, B tier. Never mind. Morgana B tier. Braum A tier. He has the shield, has the crowd control, has decent peeling. His playmaking is just not as good. Because his playmaking is the ultimate. Their playmaking doesn't rely on the ultimate. That's the advantage. Because his playmaking is the ultimate. Rakan has his W. Alistair has the W. Thresh has the hook and the third ability. Leona's playmaking isn't as good. She also relies too much on the ultimate for the AoE stun. She can tank a lot, and she can pick up people one by one, but those people can hit roam and pick off multiple people in teamfights. Sona is okay. Soraka just feels kind of weak, and she's so comp reliant. If you don't have a tank on Soraka, she never will work. That's the issue I see. Seraphine, Sona, just play them together in the bot lane, they're okay. But Seraphine on her own as a support is just not as good. I was memeing always, but if you play Senna well, if you pick her into the right team composition, she can definitely be solid. But make sure to play duo queue if you want to play Senna. Like a Nasus Senna, a Galio Senna, a Gregor Senna, or whatever else. Morgana Senna, Brand Senna, maybe. But don't go double ADC. Don't pick her when you don't have a tank at all. Lux. I mean, guys, now listen. Because some people said, oh, I need to play damaging supports in low elo. It's not true. Yes, damaging supports can be good. I'm not saying they are bad, but they are situational. Situational means you need to have a frontline or the right team composition to utilize the damaging support. Because option 1, you then don't have the frontline. If you go for Lux damaging support without the frontline. And you can use her. You can use her if you have a full poking kiting comp, then yes. Or you have the frontline. Also, I don't know why so many low elo supports have the misconception that you have to be the damage dealer to carry the games because you have inting teammates. I don't know why you guys are underestimating the power of making a 5-man knockup. 5-man knockup as an Alistair, 5-man knockup as a Rakan, 5-man ultimate as Nami. You guys are underestimating the power of roaming and teamfight crowd control that you can do. Like, you don't necessarily have to do damage to carry the game. If you land a 5-man ultimate as Alistair, Rakan, etc., you can also carry the game. Just saying. Tyler 1 went from solo queue, not playing a damaging support, playing teamfight orientated champions, crowd control champions, and he went. How long did it took him? 2 months. 2 months from unranked to challenger on LoL PC, which is way harder than wildrift, by the way, way harder. And the thing is, it's a macro reliant role. Roaming a lot, knowing where to be, knowing when to roam, knowing when to engage, knowing when to gank, knowing when to find the picks, knowing how to peel, etc. This is gonna make the difference between a diamond support or a platinum support or an emerald support. I mean, everyone's getting diamond anyways with the shit matchmaking. But the difference between a diamond support and a high elo support like Grandmaster Challenger. And you guys are saying, Darkbreaker, you don't know anything because you never played support. I played out of a support in Challenger elo on LoL PC. I've also played out of a support Season 2 in wildrift so many games because I couldn't find any games otherwise. Yes, people will say, but in lower elo it's different, you need to carry. I mean, kinda, but you can do so much value, or you can also carry without having to do damage. Like, you guys are acting like everyone else is an ape and you guys are doing perfect. Trust me, you guys are probably. If you guys think you're doing so well, you wouldn't be in diamond, because diamond is fucking easy to get right now. That's a fact. If you guys think you're doing so well, you wouldn't be diamond. You would be grandmaster challenger. I mean, challenger solo queue is not possible, but you would be master grandmaster and not emerald or gold or whatever. Just because you don't know when to roam, where to roam, how to move on the map, how to play the macro correctly. That's the difference. And you guys can come with me with a damaging argue that is working low elo, but you will never reach high elo if you stick to damaging supports and don't focus on going for those OP champions. I mean, you could reach with Lux OTP high elo, but you can't pick her consistently. You need to pick her into the right comp. That's about it. Mundo support, I think it's fine. It's fine. I never played it. Maybe I should play him. If you guys want to see a Mundo support, write it down below in the comments. Morgana. She only has the binding. Only has the binding in the early game. She really isn't the greatest playmaking champion compared to those. Her wave clear. She does have the ultimate. She does have the bind. If you have the bind, it can be broken. You can carry. Blitzcrank, really super cheesy champion. If you're good and proficient at hitting hooks, he can be B tier, but otherwise C tier, because usually Blitzcrank players, they don't know how to land the hooks. Amumu support is troll. Malphite support is also troll. Much better as a Baron laner. Really weak in the early game. Is only press ultimate button champion. Besides that, has nothing. Pantheon, early game cheesing champion, is so unreliable and not consistent. Your win rate will never be good as a Pantheon support, and you fall off so hard in the mid-late game, and you lack the frontline. You don't need frontline every single game, but having a frontline will make your team fights or the game much more easier. Yeah, situational, very situational, and snowball reliant. That's gonna be it for the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed it, then leave a like, obviously. And if you guys want to see more of my tier list and other guides, write it down below in the comments, and also subscribe so you don't miss it out. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.